Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and enter in our hours for each item per month. So let's just say we're going to rent out jet skis in April for 80 hours. We'll get 80 hours of rental. And 50 for pontoon boats, and we'll just say 80 for kayaks. Okay, now obviously these numbers would come from research. We're just using these as inputs. So say 120 for the 80, 120 for May. Jet skis for getting more in the busy season. So it gets a little bit busier, you get more hours. You can see I'm just using the arrows to move the get down, up and down, and over different cells. So like right there, I just hit the down arrow. Now I'm going to move over. So I hit the right arrow, up arrow. And then I just continue to fill in all the numbers, all my inputs. Okay, so we have that there. We know our hours, but obviously in order to get our revenues and our total, we need to know how many hours what we're actually renting these items out per hour. So I will copy these: jet ski, pontoon boat, and kayak, and I'm going to place those down here. And then let's say we're going to rent out jet skis for $65 an hour, pontoon boats for $100 an hour, and kayaks for $15 an hour. Okay, and again, we're going to want to merge and center, and then title. Prices. And there. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pretty this thing up a little bit. First of all, we'll give this a little title right here: vessels. So you can see I'm just doing little things to make it. I'm gonna do little things to make it look better. We want to give these borders, so we can highlight what is going to be this whole model, and we'll come up here, and I'll click on all borders. You can see there's several different options of different types of borders that you can do, but we're going to click all borders, and this is all just preference. You know, how do you want your chart to look? At least for this, there's no standard form. Okay, and then you can see here we have vessels, monthly revenues. These are not the same as jet skis, pontoon boats, and kayaks, so we need to go ahead and separate these, as vessels is also not the same as months. So first of all, we're going to categorize these together by giving them some color, just to distinguish them apart. Okay, the same thing with over here. We want to distinguish that those are different. Give these two some color. And see how it just makes everything just easier to read and more understandable. And that way you don't get different things mixed up. You can see that we have 3 items. Before we had 4, or we had 5 different items in these columns in these cells, but they weren't distinguished by color. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing down here. And we'll give it some borders. Okay, like if I wanted to do, say, a heavy outside border, thick or thick box border there. I'll do the same thing over here. Okay, and just to make it look a little bit neater too, I'll do right click on that cell and I can click insert and it moves another cell over. There. Okay. So we have our hours. We have our prices. Prices are in currency, so we're going to highlight those. We go up here to number. I'm just going to click the dollar sign there. But I could also come down here and I can click on currency, or I could click on accounting. I could click on anything, percentage. These are percentages, make it a percent. And we don't want, but we're doing currency. And I can come over to here. Here's a little shortcut if it was yen or euro. If it was yen. So I think you get the point. It's Excel's pretty easy to just navigate around and do different things. So that's what's really good about Excel is it's very easy to use. You just have to use it so you know where to go. But it's pretty simple. Okay, so right here we're going to want to get our monthly revenues. So we're going to combine all the calculations that I went over in part 1. So equals. Now we know that there's going to be 80 hours. We don't know, but we're expecting 80 hours of jet ski rentals in April. And that's going to be $65 an hour. So 80 times 65 plus. I'm just doing parentheses to separate each one. 50 times 100 plus 80 times okay. So we're expecting $11,400 of revenues in April. Now, say I were to want to drag this over, I would actually have a problem. You see? Look at that. Why am I not earning any revenues? Earlier I showed you that you could drag the formulas over. The reason why is because the prices right here, are not carrying over. So what we need to do is we need to lock these cells in the formula. And we do that by simply, you can see this is C11, C12, and C13. So we want to come in this formula here, and the way we lock these is we put a dollar symbol because we want to lock the column, and before the number we want to lock the row. We lock the column and the row. And the same thing for C13. These are all the prices because that's one input box. We are referring to those numbers no matter those cells no matter what, and enter. Now I should be able to drag these all the way over and add numbers, which we do. And then you see how I just highlighted those and it expanded both of those cells instead of having to do them each individually. Okay, so we have our hours. We have our monthly revenues. Getting a little bit big. Okay, I'm going to drag this over because now what we're going to do is we can combine more of those functions. We do equal sum of all the jet ski hours times, you see the star there, price per hour for jet skis. There. Now we can drag these down because these are relative. We don't have to lock them in.